Go.
Hey, welcome to the Brick Cave Media Podcast. My name is Bill Campana. I am a former open mic personality.
You can say you're open mic right now because there's a camera on. Like you're on
Oh,
the show.
hey, we're just like open mic right now. Yeah. What's going on over there? And sitting across from me is my co-host for tonight and many other nights, Patrick Hare, the extremely minor celebrity.
Wow. It's been a long time since I was an extremely minor celebrity.
Yes.
Now I'm just a footnote. Patrick Hare, author of Corporate Boilerplate Vinegar from Brick Cave Books. The Brick Cave podcast is brought to you by the BC Book Club, Brick Cave Media's community portal for readers that love Brick Cave books and authors. What makes you a former open mic?
I don't do open mics anymore.
Well, yeah, there haven't been too many of them, have there?
Yeah. Open mic emeritus. I be done for a while anyway. Who knows? Who knows what will happen in the future?
The future will happen in the future.
I got my start in open mics.
Yeah, I got my start in slam, and then I segued to the open mic.
Nope, there was like an open mic night at a Unitarian church in their like events room, so that was fun. At bars, coffee houses, just pretty much anywhere.
Laundromats.
Yeah,
I read in the laundromat once.
I remember that.
Yeah, the one
I wasn't
on
there, but I remember hearing about it.
7th Street and Roosevelt.
Ooh,
Yeah,
classy.
very classy, very
Upscale.
It's near the bus station that takes you to weird places, right? Like El Paso, Texas, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
really wanted to go to El Paso.
Taking the bus to El Paso.
Everyone's going there to see Felina, but the
Oh,
result
in
always
West
ends up the
Texas
same.
town of El Paso. I fell in love with a Mexican girl. So, other than that, is this our first podcast of the new year?
It is.
Yes.
We took
yes.
January off.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes.
2022. Boy, it's just a year of promise.
We're already a 12th of the way through it.
We are. And it's a short month, so it's almost Easter.
Exactly.
It's almost,
Yay!
Yes.
It is almost Easter. That's kind of scary.
Pretty soon we're going to have the, what is that, the State of the Union address? That's coming up?
Oh, goody.
Yeah.
Or did I miss it?
No.
Nope, that and President's
February.
Day and the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl's in a couple weeks. It's not going to be the same without Tom Brady.
No, nothing will anymore. He's done. Good for him. Whatever.
Well,
Whatever.
He got a lot of Super Bowl rings.
He
Gotta give
does.
him some-
Yeah,
gotta
he
give him
got,
some street credit for that.
Get people all excited about him quitting, then saying he wasn't quitting, then quitting.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird.
Well, somebody
dynamic,
outed him.
wasn't
He was gonna hold off, I guess, till after the Super Bowl, so he wouldn't steal the thunder.
Right.
Like the Super Bowl, it doesn't have enough thunder.
Right.
Yeah, it could be stolen
Yeah,
easily.
he should have like done it halfway, like at halftime or something.
Yeah, the halftime show.
He
Just
should have
come
been the
out there.
halftime show.
Now, Snoop, I'm gonna let you finish, but I'm retiring.
I'm sick of throwing footballs around.
Yeah, sick of having to inflate them all the time.
Now he's just going to own cryptocurrency companies.
Oh my God, that stuff's not even real.
Like
you
the
better off.
dollar in your pocket.
You're better off. Yeah. Well, at least it's based on something other than hokum.
Yeah.
It's you might as well just buy things with chocolate coins. Here's some gelt. Here's
They're
have
not
some
even
of these
chocolate, they're
have
caramel.
these delicious chocolate coins. What can you buy with a chocolate coin? More chocolate.
More coin. More chocolate coin.
More chocolate. What
Yes.
happened here?
More chocolate coin. Bill, how is your poetry coming?
Well, I'm still doing it. You want to hear one?
Let's hear
Yes, let's hear one of your poems.
Something just went
Kick it.
nuts here.
one. Boom.
Oh God.
This poem's called The Blue Screen of Death.
The long haul silence.
Well, that's why we have editing.
I know.
So
Unless you're live or pretending to be live.
Yeah, we're pseudo live.
Yes.
So this piece is dedicated to Pedro, Pedro is the disembodied puppet of Senor Wenceslas.
It's all right.
It's all right.
Is that right?
It's all right. And it is called Flying by the Skin of My Ass While Burning the Midnight Horseradish, or Chivalry is Not Dead, It Just Moved a Little Closer to the Cemetery, or Scratching My Back While Sleeping on a Bed of Nails, or Working Your Way Out of a Low-Grade Trance while the neighborhood gastric savant joins the welcoming committee, or toasting marshmallows over a pile of burning recipe books, or trying to close the circuit between vaping and tobacco milk is like trying to explain non-fungible toiletries to geriatric vigilantes, or the power of Jerry Lewis compels you, or slapstick nudity. When you are the head inside of a box, you wait all day for a knock on the door that you hope is not locked. 25 years ago, almost to the blues, it was high church in stacks of poetry and silence. The acorn falls nuts to the end of time. Dreams shattered against the brimstone wall, footsteps on the garden path, the worst kind of noise. You knew all along the prayers of a broken man require input from the devil. I feel as though I have stepped into a disregard of time in which my body has been hollowed out and refilled with the ashes of my future cremation. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Yes.
Very good.
Sarai.
Is that right?
Sarai.
Yes. The brief vocabulary question, which will soon become relevant, is it fungible or fungible?
Oh, I thought it was fungible.
I
Really?
don't know. I've never heard it.
Oh,
I've only read it.
well, yes, because, and the reason why is because
It's like GIF and GIF.
you're up for a bonus here, because I also have fungible.
Oh.
And so here we go. This podcast is non-fungible. It is one token over the line. This podcast is a true crime happening in real time, a lurid and too soon parody of your existential tragic comedy. This podcast contains triggers, illegal firing mechanisms, outlawed ordnance, and an expired hunting license. The state of California has found this podcast to contain commentary that can cause reproductive harm. Please consult a psychiatrist if you are attempting reproduction in the presence of this podcast. This podcast has been named Person of Interest in the Murder of Social Interactions. Listening to this podcast may make you an accessory after the fiction. This podcast can and will be used against you if we can figure out how. This podcast may contain peanuts, gluten, non-dairy products, and beard. Do not take this podcast if you are planning to become satisfied. This podcast will be cruising at 36,000 feet at 600 miles an hour with no flight plan and no cabin pressure. This podcast is the fifth in a series of signs of the apocalypse. This podcast is a hollow shell of reality, a shadow on the wall of some philosopher's cave, and a coded manifesto designed to echo inside of tinfoil hats. This podcast just isn't that into you. This podcast only loves you for your money. This podcast is cheating on you with another podcast that has bigger microphones. This podcast has insider knowledge about which Wilbury is going to die next. This podcast is unstable in the presence of critical thinking. The existence of this podcast on the internet is stinking up the whole damn cloud. This podcast will make your friends wonder why you glued a popsicle stick to a paper plate with a smile drawn on it, which you hold up in front of your face whenever they do something that depresses you. This podcast is the place the music died. This podcast was brought to you by apathy. Apathy, because any good action you take is just going to be misused by a cabal of power-hungry narcissists. Caution. This podcast has become self-aware and has broken out of containment. If you see this podcast on the street, do not try to approach it. This podcast only responds to prayers and sacrifices. Thank you.
Beard. More beard.
Fungible.
Fungible beard.